Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lara, or Lara Likes Mascara. 3 minutes ago when I sat down, it was snowing so hard, and now it's really sunny and bright, so I have no idea what's happening. But I'm just glad that I get sun for today's video until it disappears behind a cloud in 2 minutes. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I am very excited to talk about how the last couple months in my makeup life have gone, in my relationship to makeup and my own collection. We've got a lot of updates. A lot has changed since my last update, I think. I typically do these types of videos every, I would say 3 to 6 months, just depending on what's going on, if I've got updates, if things are changing, if I'm doing any announcements, like any makeup low buys or no buys. So yeah, it just felt time to talk because there have been a couple of changes that I've sort of alluded to in other videos, but haven't really had the time to dive into in depth. So that's what we're doing today. Let's get into it. So I think the biggest thing going on in my makeup life right now is my makeup no buy. At the end of 2023, I announced that I would be continuing on the no buy that I was already on in 2024, that I would do a makeup no buy from January until April. I think I said end of April, but I was a little bit vague about it because I hadn't really figured out what was going to work for me yet. And so I'm still on that makeup no buy, like that has not changed. And at the end of April, I am actually going to do a video talking all about that and about my plans for the future, because it hasn't gone exactly as anticipated. I have brought a bunch of new makeup products into my collection. I didn't purchase any of these. I did get gifted a number of things at the end of December, which I was anticipating, but it was a couple more things than I had thought. And then I was also decluttered a bunch of makeup products by my friend about a month ago. A bunch of these things I re-decluttered, I did not hang on to, but a number of them I did keep in my collection. So, you know, I didn't break my no buy. The rules were basically just that I could not buy makeup, but the point of the no buy was to make my collection smaller, to not increase the size of my makeup collection. And so because I brought so many new things into my collection over the past couple of months, I don't really feel like it's time to start my makeup no buy at the end of April. Like, I sort of had in mind that, oh, you know, each month, January to April, I would pan and declutter a number of items, let's say, you know, 5 makeup products per month or something like that. So I would have like a net negative of 20 makeup products by the end of April, optimistically. However, I haven't brought in 20 new makeup products, but I probably brought in at least 10. So it doesn't feel like it makes sense to stop the makeup no buy because I didn't achieve the goal that I had set out to achieve. Now, again, I didn't lay out these specific rules. I never said I want my makeup collection to be 20 products smaller than it was at the beginning of 2024, but there was a vague idea that I would want my makeup collection to have gotten smaller, and I did say that in previous videos. I will link my last sort of like update video here if I haven't already. So all this to say that I will probably be continuing my makeup no buy for a bit longer than expected, but there are a number of products that I am planning to get in April. I'll do a little break before continuing on the makeup no buy. And I chose April partially because it's kind of like a third of the way through the year, so it doesn't feel too long. Like 6 months feels like a long period of time. And also the Sephora sale is in April, and I figured that there would probably be a couple of products that I would want then, which indeed there are. Some replacement, some not so much. But yeah, I will dive more in depth into all of that in my update on my makeup no buy video, which will be probably in about a month at some point in April. But yeah, I do want to briefly show the new products that I have brought into my collection. Now, some of these I have shown in a previous video. These 2 Jason Wu products, for example, I got a couple new e.l.f. products, which were gifts to me at the end of December. And I did a whole video, like a little get ready with me using all these products, which I will link here, which was super fun. I did a really out there makeup look, and I had a lot of fun with these palettes. I mean, look at these colors. So fun, right? So I'm really glad to have all those new products in my collection. But these new ones, I feel like it is time to show you what these are. I did some TikTok videos showing all the new products that came in, but I haven't done that for YouTube. So let's quickly go over the new products first, because that's kind of exciting and that's a big update. I brought a bunch of new makeup products into my collection. I like to show that in these types of videos. Okay, so the main thing was mascaras. My friend, I don't know how she had so many. Who am I to say that? She had a lot of backstock of mascaras. And I ended up only keeping one. I think my other friend took one, and then I decluttered 3 of them to my mom and sister. The only one that I kept was the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. It's a full size. She had never used it. And I've actually never tried this mascara, so I was super intrigued. I haven't even opened this. Should I do that? Is that going to mean that it'll expire sooner? Let's do it. Okay. Interesting. Not my favorite type of brush, but I know this is great for volume. This is not waterproof, so I'm already inclined to think it won't be a favorite, but it's just such a classic that I couldn't not keep it. So there's that one. There's this Illamasqua bronzer stick, which it's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about it. There's quite a bit of product left, but it gets used up very quickly because it is so light, so I really, really have to draw it on. And it's kind of cooling. I don't know. I can't describe this product, but it is actually in my project pan right now because I'll link that here. I like this, but I want to get it used up quickly. So I decided just to throw it in there for something different. It's kind of interesting to have like newer products in your project pan. That's not something I'm used to doing. And then I've got this lip gloss from Nude Sticks. This is the Lip Glace or Lip Glacé. I'm surprised, but I actually like this. Like it feels like a lip plumper because it is kind of stingy, but it's like minty and it's got sparkles in it, which I've never seen in a lip gloss before. So I don't know, am I coming around to lip glosses? Not sure. But this is what I'm wearing today and I like it a lot. It kind of reminds me of like ice cream. Yeah. There was a whole bunch of lip products. I decluttered all of them except for 3. This is the Hourglass. I figured out what shade this was in because I really wanted to know. She'd never used it and it's just such stunning packaging. I honestly don't think this shade would suit me at all, but I could not bear to declutter it because of the packaging, which is dumb, but like, look at this. It's stunning. We've got this Tula lip gloss. This is actually from a swap that I hosted. It was like a clothing swap and product swap. Like people could bring whatever they wanted to try to swap. This is kind of a lip gloss, but kind of, it says lip treatment balm. So yeah, it's kind of like a balm, but it feels like a gloss and it's like a purple shade, which is interesting. Obviously blends out pretty well, but I like this. I think part of it is the scent. I really like the scent. And the final lip product is this little Charlotte Tilbury mini. I'm really happy to have this actually because this is part of the birthday gift from this year, and the other 2 Charlotte Tilbury products that were in that birthday gift, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think I wasn't interested in them, or I just didn't think they would be for me. So while I really wanted this one, I wasn't going to select that birthday gift because it didn't make sense. And this is such a perfect shade on me. I am obsessed with it. This is now my go-to. I had to pull this out of my purse. It's even better, I think, than the only other Charlotte Tilbury lip product that I have, which is JK Magic, because this one is a bit more of a nude and it's lighter. So that's JK Magic there. This is Pillow Talk, and I think it's just something about the pinkiness of it. It's not as much of a nude. It suits me so well. It's my go-to, my lips but better type of shade. Love it. And the final product that I brought into my collection that someone decluttered to me recently is this Shadow Slide Longwear H20 Shadow Sticks from Freck. I didn't even know this existed. This is probably the randomest item because I have a friend who I don't see very often, so I invited her to a party. She comes and she brings this. She's like, hey, I had an extra one of these. I thought you might want it. I'm like, what? I didn't even know that Freck made products that weren't like for creating freckles. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a little shadow stick. It's green. I don't know. I have not tried this yet. Maybe I should have today. But yeah, have you heard of this product? Is this any good? I don't know. I'm a little dubious about it, but the packaging is super cute. So obviously this was kind of like a gift, so I'm not going to declutter this to anyone else. And I'm also very curious to try it. But those are all of the new products that I brought into my collection over the past month. My mom also decluttered a couple of foundations to me. They're all this Dior foundation in slightly different shades, but I actually really am not a big fan of this. Partly it's because it's a spray foundation, which I just do not think is my preferred type. But yeah, got a couple of these now. I love when people declutter their products to me, but it also, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't need these new products. You know what I mean? I'm feeling the same way about clothes, not to go on another tangent, but I go to monthly clothing swaps, and then occasionally I host my own, or friends have their own clothing swaps. And so I end up with so many clothes that I'm like kind of on the fence about, like this shirt. And sometimes I just like keep it for a little bit, decide I don't want it, and then I'll like wear it for a YouTube video or two just to like feel like I got something out of it, and then I'll declutter it again. Like, it's cute. I don't know if it's my style. You know what I mean? So anyways, I need to get better about decluttering things. I think I slowly am, but it's still a challenge for me. I have found that if I have something for a short period of time, though, it's easier for me to declutter it. So for example, as I mentioned, I already decluttered some of the lip products and mascaras that my friend decluttered to me because they weren't in my collection for very long, so they already felt like they were kind of in a liminal space. Like, I didn't have any attachment to them. I wasn't like, oh, I got this on this like special trip I was on, or oh, I remember when I wore this on that like fun date night or something. Like, I don't have that attachment to these products that makes it easier for me to justify keeping them. I'm just like, oh, this is a cool product, but not sure if I would use it, and so it's easier to get rid of it. Like this shirt, like, because I've never actually worn it, it's just easier to declutter than something that, even if I haven't worn it in years, if it's been in my life, in my collection, it just feels a lot harder to break with. Does that make sense to you? If something has barely spent any time in my collection, I just have a lot simpler time decluttering it. But I'm trying to work on that. Okay, so the main thing is the makeup no buy, but I feel like the second main thing, like the main project that's going on in my makeup life, is my blush roulette, which honestly has gone even better than I anticipated. I think I didn't have super high hopes for it because last year the main project that I focused on, other than my project pan, like that's a constant, was my lipstick project pan. I'll link that here, which was basically an attempt to use up a bunch of lip products in all the ways. Like, I used them on my lips, obviously, but also as blush on my cheeks, which I'd never done before, and just being creative about ways that I could use lip products, because I realized that the lip product portion of my collection was out of hand. Like, it was so unyieldy compared to all the other aspects of my collection, so that was my main focus. And that went really well. But then this year I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that again, so I decided to focus on something else, which was the blush roulette, which is basically every month of the year I focus on one single blush and I try to get use out of it and see if I want to keep it or declutter it. And the reason for this was that last year I had got so little use out of my blushes, I didn't pan a single one, which is unusual for me, because I was pretty much exclusively using lip products as blush. So this year I wanted to give my blushes some love and really reconnect with them, because a lot of them I rarely reach for. There's some that are, you know, my favorites and I reach for them frequently, but then especially my blush palettes, I was just not getting any use out of them. So the blush roulette so far includes palettes. So for example, in February, this was what I focused on for the blush roulette. It was this Hamptons Weekender set, and mainly this blush here, but also trying to get use out of the bronzer and the highlight because I had reached for this so little. I will link my blush roulette video here, by the way, if you have not seen it. And I actually decided to declutter this whole palette, which I'm so happy about. I mean, it's beautiful, but I just never used it. It wasn't working for me for whatever reason. And so now in March, my blush is this palette. So these two blushes and then this highlight and bronzer. And I'm having the same problem as I did with this, which is that I'm just not loving it. And I wouldn't reach for it if I didn't have to. Like, if I didn't force myself to reach for it in the mornings, I wouldn't. So I have come to the conclusion that blush palettes are just not for me. I think I'm probably going to declutter this. I haven't 100% decided. But if it was a question of just having this blush here, I would be able to pan it. Like, I like this blush. You can tell I've already panned it. That was organic use. That was not like forcing myself to pan it. And so if this was a single, it would be fine. I would be keeping it probably. But as a whole thing, I don't love those shades. I don't reach for them, and it's not worth keeping for one single pan. So I realized that blush palettes, at least historically, have not worked for me because I don't like all of the shades, and it's basically impossible for me to use all of them equally. Ironically, these two are both blush palettes, but so far I actually have liked all the shades. We'll see where this ends up in a couple of years. But yeah, the blush roulette has been very productive because I've realized that I do not like blush palettes. I should try to avoid them. And also the blush that I had in my January part of the project, I also decluttered. So it's just been super productive for getting products that I don't love out of my collection. And I'm really happy I embarked on this project. And I'm excited to see what the rest of the year holds and how many blushes I will actually end off of the year having decluttered. I don't know. There's already 2 more that I have in mind that I'm like, I don't love those. Like, I could conceivably see myself decluttering them. I don't know. We'll see. Very excited about that. So highly recommend doing a blush roulette if you feel like you have too many blushes in your collection. Really take time and give each of them some specific individual attention and see what you learn, because I would not have come to these realizations if I was just, you know, forcing myself to occasionally reach for these once every couple months. It takes like a month straight of using this to be like, okay, no, it's just not for me. So that is just about everything that I wanted to talk about today. TDLR, I brought a bunch of new products into my collection, and so I need to stay on my no-buy a little bit longer, but I will be taking a break from it in April, maybe also June because it is my birthday month, although honestly I feel like I will probably get everything that I'm interested in April, but I always think about June as like a treat yourself month, so I'm keeping that open. If you think there's anything else that I should get in April while I am off my no-buy, definitely let me know. But yeah, the main things are concealer, maybe foundation, a little skincare, and brow products. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you yourself go on a blush roulette because I highly, highly recommend it. Keep your eyes out for my lipstick project pan video, and let's talk about a book that I have been reading lately. I am so happy about this one. This is Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. And the timing of this is so perfect for me personally. If you have not heard of Ted Chiang, he is a short story writer. He writes sci-fi / speculative fiction, and he is the one who wrote the short story that the film Arrival was based on, Denis Villeneuve Arrival. I will show a picture here, which is just one of the most incredible sci-fi films of the last decade at least, and his like ideas are just astonishing, especially the fact that like he writes short stories rather than full-length narratives, which is in a way more impressive because each of his stories are about a different sci-fi idea in one way or another. And I'm like, how does someone have the capacity not only to come up with like one brilliant idea about the future or AI or aliens, but like have 5 to 10 different ideas and pack them into one book? I read his other book of short stories, Exhalation, which was very good as well. I think this one's even better because this contains Story of Your Life, which is the one that Arrival is based on. And just seeing that comparison, like from how they translated the book to the film, how much of it obviously was in the book already that Ted Chiang was in his imagination that he thought of for the world building, but then also how much they had to add to it to expand that world for the film. It's such a good translation. Not literal translation, but you know what I mean. And I'm actually seeing him this week. So I'm doing my PhD in a different city than where I currently live, and so I don't go to school very often, but occasionally they have cool events or things that I come in for, and so I'm going this week because we are getting a lecture by Ted Chiang. I'm so excited to see him. It's going to be all about like AI in the future. So yeah, that is why I'm reading this now. I've had it on my library holds list for a while, but I was like, I need it to be fresh for when I potentially meet Ted Chiang. So very excited for that. If you're into any kind of like sci-fi or fantasy books, highly recommend Ted Chiang. There's just no one else who's writing or thinking like him today. I've never read another author like him. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next week.